Hello and welcome to Simple Country Place. I have 4 super easy, delicious meal ideas for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe, welcome, and enjoy. And happy 2025. It is now the new year. I'm sorry, my voice is still a little bit, I'm still kind of getting over this stuff, but a lot better. And I'm going to try not to cough. So here we go. The first thing I'm making is a chicken bacon ranch pasta. And so I have a cut up chicken breast that I cooked through just with salt and pepper for seasoning. To that, I'm adding cooked, like the bacon bits, essentially, just to crisp them up with that chicken. And then after like a couple minutes, I do remove those and set that aside. So to that pan, I added some butter and cream cheese, like a 1/4 of a block, and getting that to melt, breaking that up a little bit, trying to get that to melt all down. And added half and half to that while whisking to like get that incorporated. Obviously the cream cheese is not melted yet, but I'm not a very patient person, so I was like, it'll melt while I continue to add things. So added half and half, and then I added ranch seasoning to that and mixed that around. And then once, like as I was mixing/whisking, I decided that was too thick, so I added more half and half to like thin it out and make it more of like a saucy aspect, because obviously this is the sauce for the pasta. When the cream cheese was melted and everything I thought was mixed appropriately, I added the chicken and bacon back in and then covered it with a lid and let it like come together a little bit. You know, obviously the chicken and bacon have their own flavors and the sauce has its own flavor, so covered it and let it like cook together for a little bit. On the side, I did have some pasta cooking, so once that was done, I now add the cooked pasta to that pan and mix that around to get everything well coated. Once everything was coated, I added some sharp shredded cheddar cheese, and some pepper. Ranch seasoning, to me, is pretty salty, so I didn't add any extra salt. But we do like pepper, so I added some pepper and then just mixed that while the heat was going to make sure that cheese melts in there. Once everything was mixed together, I just plated it. I served that with some steamed broccoli, lightly seasoned steamed broccoli, and some breadsticks. And my husband really likes this. He likes bacon ranch stuff in general, so he really liked it. My nephew enjoyed it, and it was pretty quick to come together. Using that cream cheese was the key. So on this night, I am making Salisbury steak-ish using ground beef. So I have a beaten egg that I'm adding the ground beef to, and then for seasoning, I'm adding some of an onion soup mix seasoning, not the whole package, but some of it. If you've been here a while, you know I don't really measure. I just, what do they say? I heard someone like, measure with your heart. So that's what I've always done. that's why I enjoy cooking, because it's not like as precise as baking, so you can kind of wing things, whereas baking, I feel like you need to be much more precise. Anyways, mixed those three things together and then formed like patties. And to the patties, I added garlic powder and the Kinder's buttery burger blend and pepper on both sides. Again, I think the burger blend is pretty salty, so I don't like to add extra salt in that, but added those seasonings to both sides, and then I had some oil that was heating up, and I added the Salisbury steak, quote unquote, to that. So while those were browning / cooking, I wanted to start on the gravy. So I used the rest of that onion soup mix and water, and then just some more Worcestershire sauce, as well as some flour. So got those things combined and whisked that all up. Once that was mixed together, I had flipped the burger patties, Salisbury steak, but they're not cooked through yet, so I added that gravy-ish type stuff into that pan, and then covered it and let the sauce come together, as well as like the meat to finish cooking. And then I served that over mashed potatoes and with California blend steamed veggies. And my husband really liked that. My nephew was kind of iffy about it, but he ate it. He didn't starve. So this night I made the easiest of all of the meals. It's a sheet pan, quote unquote. I didn't use just sheet pan, but sheet pan chicken and veggie dinner. Started with the potatoes because obviously they take a little bit longer. So I have them cut up, and to them I added olive oil, and then for seasonings I added lemon pepper, seasoned salt, some ranch dressing mix, and black pepper. And mix those super well to like coat all of them evenly. And then I put them into my quote unquote sheet pan, which you'll see is not a sheet pan, it's like a 9x13 pan. And then into the oven. So obviously those go in first, they take longer. While those were cooking initially, then I got everything else. I cut up some chicken breast, added broccoli, bell pepper, and cherry tomatoes, and then going to season those with, again, some olive oil, seasoned salt, lemon pepper, black pepper, and garlic powder. I did not put any ranch seasoning on these, like this part, and then I did add the garlic powder. And then, again, mix that all so it was super well coated. Once that was all mixed, I pulled the potatoes out and gave them a stir, and then I added that chicken and veggie mix right into that. Stirred it all around, kind of made it as even as I could possible, and then threw it back in the oven. I didn't cover this, it was just like open or whatever, like roasted everything or whatever they call it. I'm not a professional chef, so And once everything was cooked through, like this was so incredibly easy. And mixed it all together. I took it out of the oven, obviously mixed it all together. And then I just topped it with some Italian style shredded cheese. And I had shut off my oven at this point, but it was obviously still hot. So once I put the cheese on top, I threw it back in the oven just for that cheese to melt. And I mean, it didn't take long at all. And I just served this by itself. I mean, it has the protein, it has the vegetables, and it has the potatoes as a starch, which I know is not the healthiest of starches, but Midwest, we like our potatoes. And yeah, my nephew really liked this. My husband enjoyed it too, and like, honestly, incredibly easy. On this night, I made a cheesy smoked sausage and potato dish, kind of like a cheesy potato au gratin, but with smoked sausage. So I have some oil and butter that will melt together, and then I added diced onions and cut up smoked sausage for the onions to cook and the sausage to brown. And while that was doing its thing, I started on the cheese sauce, which is just like when I make cheesy au gratin potatoes or mac and cheese, I use basically the same type of situation. I start with a roux, butter and flour, and then add half and half and the off-brand of Velveeta, like cheese melt. Great Value calls it cheese melt. And let that all mix together. For seasonings, I just added pepper and parsley. Because I feel like the smoked sausage has its own, fair bit of seasoning, so that helps with the overall taste of everything. Once that cheese was all melted, I added cut up potatoes that were cooked until fork tender. Mix them around really good, and then the sausage and onions had cooked / browned, so I added the cheese sauce with the potatoes into that pan and mixed till everything was like evenly coated, dispersed. And then to the top of that, I added a layer of cheddar cheese and then threw that into the oven for the cheddar cheese to like melt and brown and all of those things. And I just served that, and as you can see, there's green beans cooking in the background. I served that with a side of green beans. And my husband loved this, and my brother was over this night, and he was like, that was amazing. Super easy to come together. So thank you so much for watching, and please come back for future videos.